enjoying life and going with the flow.
Today's guest is an actress, a pro wrestler, a pro fighter, and she is making her Powerslap debut. Please welcome Jeslen Mischelle, who's also the voice of QueenJesi from Jujitsu Monkey and Friends.
I'm glad
You
we
can hear me
finally got.
also?
Yeah.
I know.
I'm glad we got this to work.
Yeah, sorry about that. I
No
was
worries.
thinking of asking you to do it. I could do it live yesterday for my thing, but then I knew from my account, but then I knew you were on a time restraint more yesterday.
It's all good. It's working out now. And it was kind of funny. I was thinking about it. Like, so this is technically episode 13, but I don't like the number 13 because it's unlucky. So I was calling it episode 12.5 to avoid it being unlucky. But then we kept having all this bad luck trying to connect and trying to start. So it was like, wow, that's kind of ironic. I'm trying to avoid the bad luck, and like 5-6 times we try and it just doesn't work.
Yeah, that is weird. Huh? I wonder what was going on.
I don't know, but we got it now. Zoom is always an option. So tell me, you got Powerslap coming up. What who are you fighting, and how did that opportunity come about?
Hi, Matt. I'm glad to be back on the show, but this time for something else. So it's Powerslap. Yeah, you know what's crazy is I turned it down 2 other times in the last year and a half. And the most recent time I looked back at my message to them when they hit me up, it was like a few weeks before my last fight, the last fight I had a year ago or so. And I was just so focused on that fight. I was like, no, don't bother me, go away. And I just hope it didn't seem like I came off like that, but I remember my attitude towards it was like, I'm a fighter.
Mm-hmm.
I got fights to fight, not slaps to slap, not bitches to slap is what I felt.
Yeah.
But well, someone else reached out to me because they got a new recruiter. His name's Sin Bodie, and Dana White loves him. And he happens to be my former pro wrestling coach. He's a former WWE wrestler, actually.
Oh, okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, he's here in town and it still does shows here and there and still trains people. But yeah, so he's our new recruiter. So he hit up all the pro wrestlers he thinks are the toughest, is what he said.
Okay.
And
that makes
sense. Yeah, and at the time I was still like, I don't know. But he's like, just come try it. It's orientation. Just check it out. And I got there and it was some of the pro wrestlers I've known for a decade and I haven't seen in several years. And then just being around in a room full of other pro wrestlers was like really invigorating and inspiring. So I was like, I want to do this. I'm gonna just try it. I'll just try it.
Okay. So what kind of training are you doing different from what you're used to get ready for Powerslap?
Yeah, well, obviously no like live sparring type things and no hard grappling rounds.
You're not getting practice getting slapped in the face?
No, when we were at orientation, we asked about that, like how should we get that used to getting hit, and they're like, we want to avoid more strikes to the
Brain
head.
damage.
So
okay.
Just you build the mandible. I'm sure all the other pro wrestlers too, but I got like this jaw builder. It's like you chew.
Okay.
And I started with the easiest one. I'm like, this is too easy. So right away I went to the hardest. There's 3 densities. Yeah. And then they say your neck and your the traps are like what keeps you steady, because it's that whiplash that really rattles the brain that can knock you out.
Okay.
So I'm working a lot of that, but that's already been naturally strong. Actually, what I was motivated from was at the Apex where we were having orientation, they did a neck strength test on us. And I don't know what the numbers mean, but all the girls were getting 150. We lay on our side and push this up. We lay on our side and push this up. And I ended up getting 350 on my left side and 250 on my right side, 350 on my strong side and 250 on my weak side. And then I was being nosy, just like, well, what are the numbers? I don't even know what they mean. All the men got 350 also. So like my neck
Oh
was as strong as a
wow.
man. I know.
Wow.
I've always had a really strong neck and even stronger when it was a pro wrestler neck, but I mean it's
Yeah.
still like
Right, right,
it.
right.
So that like gave me more motivation. Like, oh, I'm gonna take a slap.
Okay.
But
So yeah, go ahead.
oh, the other training is just that rotational movement because you get the power from that rotation, not just from the arm, you know. But
Okay.
can't give away all my secrets.
Yeah, no, of course, of course. You know, you gotta let them experience it. You know, that's
Yeah,
how they're gonna learn. Try by
exactly.
feeling it. And then they're gonna be like,
Yeah.
how the fuck did she do that? Ow. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So I see you are in a wrestling ring or boxing ring, or is it wrestling ring?
Yes, 3 ropes is a wrestling ring.
Okay.
4 ropes is a boxing ring.
Got it. That's good to know. I never knew the distinction. But so do you have some wrestling matches you're preparing for as well?
You know what? I had like a little training, cardio training type thing going on, and
Okay.
I didn't. Yeah, it was. It's kind of like private instruction,
Got
but
it. So
I
like
really just
more
worked my
like a
cardio.
class you teach.
Yeah, but
Got it.
individually.
Individually. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah. And it's
So
not. It's just down the way. It's not far from my house, and it's like a lot of people use this ring for a lot of different things, mostly custom videos and stuff.
okay. So I know you have a history in pro wrestling. Tell me about that. What have you done with that in your life? You
Well,
yeah.
I felt like I did everything I could, and I felt like there was a lot of promise. I felt like I had everything that it takes. So, like, even my ex fiance, who now just debuted on WWE, congratulations to him, Jeff Cobb. I, he told me I was a total package as far as being able to have a personality and talk on the mic, which I needed work
Mhm.
practice. We all do. And then the athleticism, of course, but then the character building, which honestly, I appreciated that he said that because it was one of the few compliments he ever gave me. Being so honest. But I realized pro wrestling actually made me realize I am not that confident. And I didn't have the confidence. It's because I wasn't so familiar with pro wrestling. I was familiar with sports and athletics, but I didn't watch pro wrestling growing up. So people would ask me things and I wouldn't know the answer. But I just wanted to wrestle. I wanted to wrestle. I didn't need to be a fan. I didn't need to be a mark. I needed to just wrestle. And I think that that could have really worked for me, but I lacked confidence. And you really have to learn how to, basically, as a pro wrestler, you tell the audience who you are and if they like you or not. And if they don't like you, that's good because then you succeeded in what you want them to do. Because there's bad guys and good guys, right? Heels and
Mhm.
faces.
Right.
And you have to be very convicted in that character. And I just wasn't yet. Like I just didn't I was getting there. I was getting there. I got to travel the world. I wrestled in Australia. I wrestled in the Philippines. One of my
Oh
best matches
wow.
was in the Philippines. Yeah, I wrestled in London. I got to the top 3 of the championship there with BEW. I wrestled in Puerto Rico. I had a great match with Rosa Negra, and that promotion's been there forever. That's like their WWE. It,
Okay.
yeah,
That's
like
awesome.
it's been awesome. I've had some great opportunities. Like I still am a belt holder. So then COVID happened. And so everything kind of just went on the back burner. But it was that year that I started, our gym was still running and open, the jujitsu and MMA gym. So that's when I focused to fighting, was just 5 years ago.
Mm,
And then pro wrestling kind of just, it's really hard to do both.
right. I imagine because while they're definitely going to have similarities, it's still going to be different aspects. It'd be just like if you were competing in boxing, you're not going to spend any time training jiu-jitsu, you're just going to train boxing. You know,
Yeah, like if
like
I had a big, yeah, that's the route I wanted to go for sure. Maybe do a jujitsu training here and there to move the body, but
right, right, but it's not going to be as specific towards what you're doing with pro wrestling as just training pro wrestling would be. But I guess
correct.
it would be a good thing to like make sure that you don't have, I guess, overworking the same muscles again and again. Maybe, I don't know, just as a different way of moving the body, like you were saying.
Yeah. Then you don't get too stuck in the routine.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. All right. So which one do you like better, pro wrestling or pro fighting?
Oh, they're totally different. And since I've been fighting, I've heard fighters say, "Oh, I'll just probably retire and do pro wrestling." I'm like, you think it's easier? You think you're gonna just retire and have a lax job? They're, I think they have a place where they blend for sure. In that it's a show when they're utilizing martial arts as a form of entertaining people,
Mm,
right? But um, I found fighting to come more naturally to me. Pro wrestling is challenging because it's not just about the fight. You don't just train and gain your strengths and use your strengths to win an actual fight. You are putting on a show, you're engaging the audience, you're depicting a character specifically that's over the top, and you have to keep not just yourself safe, but your opponent safe. You have to keep them safe. You can't like throw them, drop them on their head,
mm,
which is very easy to do if you're not careful.
right, right.
So yeah, so I loved the carny feel of pro wrestling because that's really what it's more similar to is like the carnivals, like that's where it came from
Mhm.
back in
Okay.
the
Really?
circus days. Yeah, back in the circus days, they'd have these two big strong men just wrestle, and the crowd would be like, "Wow," because it's fascinating watching people wrestle. But then it just would get so boring because none of them would win because they
Mhm.
were getting better and better, and so they finally just started saying, "Hey, get me in this, get me in that. Oh, do this to me," like and they started just
Yeah.
creating more of the show, and
Okay.
that made it way more exciting, and then it just evolved.
Yeah. Huh.
I should stick with kayfabe and not tell everyone that, but it's there's nothing more real than jumping off the top rope and landing on another human. So
Oh yeah, no, that's insane. Like I don't know how you have the balance to be able to do that. Blows my mind.
yeah, yeah, it's been fun.
A lot of practice, I imagine, to be able to do that.
No, like the
No.
first time I tried a swanton as my finisher, which is a front flip off the top rope to not fully a front flip because you don't land on your feet, you land
You're
on your
going
back on
back.
someone's gut.
Yeah.
I
And then
never once practiced it. I just did it. I knew I could do it, and I
yeah.
did it.
Oh wow.
That
But
was
I
one of
mean
my
just
finishing moves.
standing on those ropes in general.
Oh,
But like
you know you can do it. You just
yeah,
know.
I'm just probably overthinking it because I'm just thinking that they're like so small. I don't know.
Yeah. Well,
But
I do remember in training we would get on the corners, like each of us would have a corner and we'd do squats. And so that I don't remember doing it too much though, maybe less than 5 in the years I trained. But
okay.
then you at least get a feel for it.
Hmm.
But if you watch the pro wrestlers, they're like we're squatting and we're holding
Right.
the rope until it's time to stand up and then you go, you know. So
Okay. Gotcha. So are you when you are a pro wrestler, are you a heel or are you a
a pace.
baby face? Okay.
Well, no. So it depended where I was.
Hmm.
In Oklahoma and Texas, I had a faction and it was a group of us native kids and they liked us. They liked us to be heel. We were like the bad guys that they love. Cause some people love
Yeah.
the bad guys. I
Yeah.
do.
They love to
Um,
hate.
yeah. And then other places that I would be going against someone who was darker or more evil or cheated all the time. Like that
Mm.
was their shtick. That was their gimmick.
And then you would be
Um,
the hero.
yeah, then of course
Cool.
yeah. It
Okay.
was that's what's cool about pro wrestling. And obviously fighting's nothing like that.
Right, right. You're just you throughout it when you're fighting.
Yeah.
But when you're a pro wrestler, you're either you to this aspect or you to this aspect. And
Yeah.
I had someone explain to me that the way their character is it's them, but it's cranked up to 11.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. So like however you view yourself, like what you like about yourself and what you think your strengths are, you want to like just magnify that
Mhm.
100%. 1,000%.
Okay.
So yeah, that's cool. But so that actually led me, and I think everybody, onto like a bit of self-discovery. Like I'm like, I don't know, who am I? What do I like about myself? So there's
Mm,
like a lot of internal uh in inspection like that I never had to do before.
mm.
Like, who am I? Like, I was doing a lot of acting and movie roles before that. I'm like, usually I can do this really good, like be a character, but that's because someone gave me lines and is directing me.
Okay, so you don't have lines, it's more free flowing. Is
Oh,
it?
oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's another one that's so challenging. It's all improvised. All the mic stuff that you hear and see at any pro wrestling is all improvised. That's what
Oh,
makes it such
wow.
a craft.
Yeah. Okay. But they get
But
probably like a rough idea of what the promo is going to be or what they're going to
yeah,
say, right?
the storyline, yeah.
Storyline.
They don't
Okay.
rehearse it. But there are a lot of fighters doing a lot of things like that now and are much better on the mic and like, eh, provoking the audience or the
Mhm.
next bout,
Yeah. Chael Sonnen,
including,
I think, was the first one to really bring that in.
oh yeah,
I think he was. I don't know. Chael Sonnen.
probably you would know.
Yeah.
I'll have to go back and watch more of his stuff.
Yeah. But if you just watch his interviews, you see like just the way he talks and the way he presents himself. He's taking it all from pro wrestling. And
Yeah,
yeah. And then Conor McGregor did the same kind of thing,
Honor
except he was
definitely
able to do it, 10x
true.
and yeah. But
Because I remember watching Connor way back when, and I'm like, what is this pro wrestling now? And then I
yeah,
scoffed at it, but then I probably secretly was jealous of it.
hey, I mean, who wouldn't be jealous? I mean, he's making millions of dollars, and
Yeah,
he doesn't even have to fight ever again. And
yeah,
and he's always going to be ranked as one of the top fighters. Nobody can ever take that away, no matter what he. Um, so yeah, no, good for him. He got in, got out, and made his money, and then
yeah.
now he's making his money off of doing other things as well. And I think he actually got into acting now. So with Roadhouse.
Well, I mean, and people can think that they can do that, get in and get out, but
Mm,
he had he had the talent. Like, there were years and years and years of him sacrificing everything else in his
well, of
life just
course.
to train. That I think some people don't recognize or see, like how much work it took for someone to get where they are, because we just see them when they're there. But
You're right.
and
It wasn't an
that's the
overnight success, no.
no, yeah, but that's like the part people don't see and the part that people don't realize that it takes.
Mm,
And I know for me personally, I don't know if I could sacrifice that much, because I think we all could get to a level like that, but do we choose to?
right. It's all a matter of making the choices, and unfortunately, like if everybody could do it, then everybody would do it.
Would,
If it
yeah,
was easy, then everyone would succeed. But because
true.
it's not easy, that's why the people who succeed at it are, heavily praised and spoiled and rewarded. And
Exactly.
yeah. So I don't know. It's we gotta, I guess, as individuals, find where our strengths are and what we want to be doing, and focus our energy onto that.
So, and the passion, exactly. So if
Yeah.
there's no passion for it, it can only take you so far.
Mm, right, right, right. Exactly. Um, awesome. So, what has been your favorite match that you've had?
Pro wrestling?
Yeah.
Oh, gosh, I had a lot of really cool ones, but like I've mentioned, the those those ones abroad, the one in the Philippines is probably my favorite. My opponent was super flexible and light and
Mhm.
easy to throw around. Didn't
Okay.
let me threw her around. Yeah.
All right.
Bent her up, folded her up, and it just looked really cool. And everyone in the Philippines was so nice. That's probably the main reason. It was
So
a
it was a
cool
good
thing.
experience.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So how about, what was your favorite fight you've had so far?
Every fight's taught me so much about myself. And a lot of that comes from the camp leading up to the fight. But as far as the fight that I feel like expressed me the most, even though it was 4 years ago and it was my last amateur fight, I feel like it showed the way that I would really want to fight. And it was against Riley Martinez in Salt Lake City. And I mean, I'm in grappling, I'm so much better now. Like you've learned so much in the 4 years and in 5, and then going pro and 5 pro fights since then. But since then, I haven't been able to get in rounds of grappling during a fight the way I did with her. And she was so strong that it showed me that my technique was there, but just not tight enough and not clean enough. And so I learned a lot from that, but I've not been able to show that in a fight again, like how good my grappling is, like how good my grappling for MMA is. My jiu-jitsu is good, but my grappling for MMA, I've never got to show that in any of my pro fights, and that's been a bummer.
Okay.
Just different factors, and I mean, any fighter can tell you that. It's so, for me, inconsistent, just for the physically injuries. There was one fight I had some stuff going on that, you know, you think you can push away, but you can't. Yeah. But that fight. Mountain Force, was with Mountain Force.
Okay. Your last amateur fight.
Yeah, exactly. My last amateur fight. And Riley is one of the toughest chicks there is. So she's since has gone pro also and fought for Invicta. And I feel like she would beat anybody else that I fought. I feel like she could.
Okay, cool. I haven't heard of her, so I'm gonna have to look into her. But I'm sure if you fought her again, you would win.
Well, I won that one as my last.
So you would win again.
Yeah.
So you win again.
I won all my amateur fights.
Okay. Awesome. So you're undefeated as an amateur, and then as a pro, are you 5-0 or
3-2?
3-2.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're leveling up.
What's up, Coach Bergen here, and we are going to take a quick break from the podcast for some ads. I know, ads usually suck, right? Well, these ones hopefully won't. They are theme songs that I personally have created for these businesses. Tommy Dream Home, Desert Donuts, and of course, One Hit Wonder. So I hope you enjoy these songs, and feel free to skip by them. They're each about 30 seconds long. So yeah, you know, you got about 2 minutes to skip past, and 2.5 minutes if you were to start as soon as I started talking. So just giving you a heads up. I don't mind if you skip the ads, but I gotta let you know they're there. And I think that they're definitely worth listening to because they're awesome products, awesome people. Yeah. So thanks for listening to the podcast.
Tommy Dream Home, your trusted name. Western Mass, he's winning the game. Reach out now, he's your guide. Tommy Dream Home is by your side. Call him up or send a DM. Dream Home hunting never ends. One hit, one dose, smooth and clean. One hit, one that keeps your session serene. One that does it right. Every puff, pure delight. In the heart of the desert sun, Desert Donuts where the fun's begun. Cooked to order just for you, with toppings, glazes, a dream come true. Desert Donuts, share your happy family moments, sweet and snappy. Dottie and Chip leading the way, bringing joy to your everyday.
And I know at least one of those was for PFL. 2 of them were for PFL, right? The Contender Series.
Three of them were PFL. Yeah, the first 2, and then I fought a young Brazilian and lost. She definitely wanted it more. I don't want to admit that because I felt like I wanted it badly, but you
Mm,
could tell that was like she was breathing and bleeding, needing that fight.
gotcha. Okay. All right.
And
Um,
then, and then I won one here, and then I lost the one last year.
got it. All right. And where was the one last year you did?
In Arizona, what was it promotion? TUF?
EUF? Okay. The Ultimate Fighter. Oh, okay. You're on the Ultimate Fighter.
No. Well, how come I can't think of it right now?
That's okay. Let's just say you were on the Ultimate Fighter. And then you won the series, and then you made it
There
into
we
the
go.
UFC, and that was when you had your last loss.
Yeah, there you go. See, you
Okay.
got to speak it like you want it to be, right?
It already happened. It already existed. Already existed. It's news now. It's on video. It's in an interview, so it's got to be true.
Exactly. It's got to be true. Well, I will say that weight cut was so hard on me, and I felt mentally clearer and better and more sure of my technique than any that fight. But that weight cut was so hard on me that I had no strength there. My testosterone, my natural testosterone levels were really low too, before and after, and we don't know why.
Mm,
Um, it was called, I don't know, but it was at the legendary Celebrity Theater in Phoenix, Arizona.
okay.
Oh, what
All
was
right.
it called? Yeah, it was a really cool venue. Um, Rough, not tough, RUF.
Rough. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. All right.
And my opponent that time, so anyway, the weight cut was terrible. And I was saying, I'm going to win this title belt and just call it. I can't cut this weight anymore.
Mhm.
I'm not cutting to the weight I was at when I was 12, which is what I did for
Oh my God.
all but two of my pro fights. Yeah.
That's crazy.
I know. And I was saying it to my middle school weight, and it is, but then I'm like, how old am I in middle school? Because in eighth grade at 14, I was 155, 150, 155. So before that is the fight weight. And yeah, I was like, I can't do this anymore. I'm just gonna win this belt and call it. That's what you say in your delusion when you're cutting weight. You're like,
Right. Yeah. I'm just gonna win this fight after I make weight. No big deal. The weight
yeah,
cut's the hardest part. Don't even worry
right.
about the fight.
It is. It
Yeah.
is. Like when you make weight, you're like, oh, okay. And I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot about
Oh,
the fight.
right. Now I gotta fight for my life. Fuck.
Yeah. But my opponent there, I can't wait to watch and see what she continues to go on to. Her name's Zarina Churi, and she clocked me at the beginning, just right in two tempos, bam, bam, and I was spinning the whole fight.
Oh,
I don't know if it was just more sensitive because I had a bad weight cut or what, but I was like, not trying to make excuses or anything, but
yeah.
these
No, it's
factors
okay.
happen.
We all make excuses.
These are facts.
Yeah. Facts. All right. So if
But
you
but
could,
I brought up that as far
Mhm.
as the weight goes, because when this is the other thing with the power slap is I said to my coach, the recruiter, I'm like, I'm not cutting any weight. Like if I would be interested to do it if I don't have to go below 160. Like I
Mhm.
can do that. He's like, yeah, of course. And so they made the weight at 170. I'm like, oh, I could just
Oh
do nothing.
wow,
Yeah.
that's pretty cool that you don't have to cut weight for it.
Yeah.
I like that aspect because I think that is something that shouldn't be involved in the sport of MMA as best as they can figure it out. Because it's just too easy to cheat it. Like if they could do day of weigh-ins and just not have it, I don't know how they would have to do it. Like hydration tests, but even those could be
Yeah.
cheated. I'm not sure what the solution is. And I've
Mm.
heard, more weight classes would be the solution, but I feel like that would just be easier for people to cut weight, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I think to an extent you should cut weight. It's really good discipline because it makes you to eat the food and the meals that you should for optimal performance regarding the nutritional element of it. But yeah, it shouldn't be, there should be like a universal uh test for all fighters that have to register or something, and they have to register what their weight is and check in every time so they could get a baseline of what their healthy walking weight is, we'll say, and then
Yeah.
you can only fight like 15 pounds less than that.
Yeah. Yeah, or like
Like you're not allowed
percentage
to cut
of
more.
weight, you know, like whatever the percentage, body weight percentage, because 15
Yeah,
pounds to a
exactly.
heavyweight is different than 15 pounds to somebody at 135.
That's
Yeah.
true. That's
Um,
true.
so it would have to be like maybe, I don't even know, 10% might be too much.
10%'s hard. Yeah. Well,
But
I would get down to 9 or 8, and I felt like that was bad for my reproductive system, which I started
yeah,
thinking about differently recently.
yeah, yeah. Um, Weight cutting can definitely do a lot to mess up the body and, you know, the health, and it's not good.
Yeah.
But all right, so if you could have a dream fight with anybody, who would it be?
Fight
Yeah, in MMA,
on Rousey.
Ronda Rousey. Okay,
Yeah.
all right, and then would she be your dream match for pro wrestling as well?
Well, actually, I guess she could be both, but no, I never really thought of her for pro wrestling. Um, my dream match is someone I've wrestled numerous times before, and I mention it is Shotzi Blackheart.
Okay,
She started about the same time I did, and then uh she she just breathed wrestling. She was so passionate about it, and that's why she went to NXT and then she went to SmackDown, I believe. And
okay,
now she's still wrestling.
awesome, awesome.
Yeah,
Um, so that's
yeah, I
all the
love
questions.
wrestling, girl.
Yeah, that's all the questions I got for you today. But um,
What about? I thought this was going to be more about Power Slap. We talked about
Power
everything
Slap.
else.
Oh yeah, I guess so. Power Slap. So you, I mean, I'm not sure what to ask you about Power Slap. You told me how you got the opportunity.
Yeah.
Who are you competing against? How does Power Slap work?
So I didn't even know I had the match until someone from my old gym told me congratulations, and I'm like, for what? And they're like, getting on Power Slap, and I'm like, I am. They just we're on the roster, but we don't know when. He's like, oh no, you're on for June. I'm like, how do you know? He said, because your opponent is at this gym. And I'm like, really? And it turns out that they must have told her, but forgot to tell me the same day. So she's this I think she's like we did an interview together actually. So turns out she's a horse riding type farm girl
Okay,
that has nice muscle strength and mass, and she's really excited.
awesome.
She seems cool.
That must have been
She's
weird doing the interview together.
Yeah, it's kind of weird, but like it's not like a fight. Like it'd be really weird if it was an MMA fight. Like I'd be like, fuck no, I'm not talking to that. I'm
Right,
focused.
right.
But that's also why I feel like I can't take this as it's not. I'm not that I don't take it as serious. That I mean, I take it serious. I'm very excited, but that's more of what it is. It's not. It's not like a anxiety for like I gotta fuck this person up. I gotta be like I know what that feels like to
Yeah.
walk into a cage and know someone has all these weapons to use against you,
Oh yeah.
and this is just like a slap. Not
Right,
like that doesn't hurt and can't knock your ass out because it can, and someone like her could probably knock someone out too, but it just doesn't feel the same intensity, same threat. It's not the same threat.
right, right. And you know when it's coming.
Right,
So
right,
it's a lot different in that sense. Um,
right.
so how many times, like I've never watched Power Slap. Yours is going to be the first one that I ever watch. All right. So, um, how does it work? Who gets to slap first? How many slaps do you get? And yeah.
So they toss a coin, and I guess it's recorded. The ref tosses a coin previously, and then I don't think we know until we walk out there, and our hands are behind our back when we get slapped, and we can't have our traps up. We have to be here, but we're going to be tense, and I'm going to like wrinkle my face really tight because we're muscle.
Okay.
And then it's strange because in the past they didn't have as many rules because they didn't know quite yet. But like our feet are our feet are going to be standing together, but you can't lift your heel up. Like so, when you're slapping,
Okay.
you can't turn your heel up
So
like you would throw a
like
punch.
when you're throwing a hook, you can't. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Huh. So it's different than throwing a hook. You're just
Yeah,
turning
if
your
you're
body.
squared up and you twist. And I've been working on my ankle mobility because doing that movement actually lifts my heel up because my ankles are so tight.
Mm.
But so I
And
had to work on
imagine
that.
muscle memory too, probably.
Right, exactly. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
I'd get yelled at for having, I'd be in so much trouble if my foot didn't pivot.
Right. Yeah. Huh. And then you probably want to work like your core muscles a lot too.
Oh yeah,
And
that's where I was telling you the rotational. So I did a lot of
yeah,
work.
yeah, like a resistance band and just rotate over and over again. It almost
Yeah.
makes me think I could do power slap.
That's
Um,
right.
but all right, well that's pretty cool. So how do you win?
They say shoot for a knockout. If you knock the other person out, you win. Because otherwise, there's so many factors. Like if your hand lands too low, if
Mhm.
it hits here first, if it's too high, if you go too far back, like you get deductions. So who, if no one gets knocked out, then they go by the tiny little nuances. Which one looked better? Which one looked hard? Which one sounded louder? Like it sounds harder.
Oh
And so it's
wow.
like there's so many variables that you don't want to count on that. Just like in MMA fighting, there's variables if you don't, if it goes to the judges, but it seems more clear. This is not as clear because it's just one motion. So they tell you to shoot for the knockout, which,
Okay.
the controversy is CTE stuff,
Yeah.
like
Brain
getting
damage.
knocked
Yeah.
out. Yeah, getting knocked out. Is that a concussion or,
I,
no
I think so.
one's,
I'm not a doctor though. Are you a doctor?
well, neither is the company, so they
Oh,
don't say so.
you're right. But they hire lawyers to prevent them from being sued by doctors. So they're
Well,
probably
they
good.
are exactly. They are state sanctioned, so
Mm.
apparently, it passed the regulations.
Okay. That I don't know. I think it's crazy to me, but so it sounds like you're only slapping them one time then. There's no
Three,
redos
so 3 times if
three
no one
times.
knocks out. Yeah,
Okay.
if
Okay.
unless knocked out.
So when they're going off of the nuances, that's after you've done three slaps.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Okay.
because you have 3 opportunities to knock them out.
Okay. So which hand are you slapping with?
I'm right-handed.
Okay. It does everybody slap with their right hand?
If they're right-handed, yeah, but they say practice with both just because sometimes you could hurt your hand or break your
Uh,
finger, and so you have to use your other hand because you can't say I can't slap.
mm,
So
okay. Well, I mean, you could slap with a broken hand, I guess. Um, just be a little bit harder, and then you have to keep your hand together and all that, like fingers close. Yeah.
yeah, and
So
flat.
that flat. Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah, I would
but
want to cup it. That's how you would knock them out.
to
Um,
cook it, yeah,
cup it. Cup it would probably be a little harder, right? I don't
yeah.
know. Or
Maybe.
pull it back so I hit with the palm. You know, kind of like Boss Ruin used to do. Um, and yeah, okay. But you can't pull your hand back. It has to be completely flat.
Yeah, I mean, I can't straighten my pinky, so that looks funny, but I mean, yeah, you can't have this bent, you can't have that.
Can't just.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And so when you hit something hard with that, it sends the signal to your shoulder. So I think also someone injured their shoulder and they couldn't use their hand, that
Okay.
that arm.
Huh. So, do you have anyone in the Power Slap League that you want to fight against after this?
There's only been one other bout with women our size. And I think that it's a good opportunity for bigger women, whereas fighting right before the fight, so let's do a little quick tangent, rewind back to talking about my fight from last year.
Yeah.
Right before that fight, my manager said, hey, win 2 more fights and like show everyone what you can do. And I can get you a spot on Contender Series UFC. And then right before, I was like, yeah, so excited. Like there's something to shoot forward to. Like this is like the top tier company, right? Obviously, it's what we
Yeah.
all want. But right before that fight, they cut the weight class of 145. They don't even have that weight class anymore.
Oh,
The UFC does not have that weight class for women fighters anymore. So that's why Kayla Harrison cut to 135. And if you saw her interview afterwards, she found that cut to be devastating too. It's her words verbatim, it takes a part of your soul. Like, it's just miserable. I told someone before that if someone marketed it in a certain way and made other people weight cut like that, they would call it a spiritual enlightened experience. And then a bunch of people would spend money doing it when really they're just sitting in a sauna or tub till their fat melts off and their brain goes somewhere else.
yeah. It is kind of like a cult type of activity.
Yeah, yeah,
It
it really
sounds
is.
like it. Yeah.
It's like a delusion.
You can't
Illusion.
eat, and you have to sit in this hot room, and you need to ride a bike until you are at a certain weight.
And not even drink water.
And no water.
Yeah.
No water until after you've stepped on the scale and proven that you can make this weight.
Yeah. And for whatever reason, I felt like missing weight. I felt like if I were to miss weight, it'd be worse than a fight that I tried my best in. It'd be worse than losing a fight that I tried my best in.
Right. Yeah. It's kind of
Yeah.
crazy. It's
Yeah. So
it's
that's why I
so
was, oh, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
It's so crazy. It's not fair. But I don't know why they don't have the bigger weight classes. And I've said in other interviews, I think it's discrimination. I think it's actual discrimination. But that's why I think Powerslap is coming in. I think they want bigger girls. I think they want to start seeing that because it's cool to see like two big dudes going at it. Like, there's some big dudes that I think they're like 350-pound guys. And these small girls are slapping hard too. Do not get me wrong. I'm not taking anything away from them, but there's something as hard as a small person can hit or slap or do whatever, it's never going to look as impactful as a huge person giving their 100% hit. So I think that that's kind of the angle that Powerslap has that nothing else has. And so this would be a place for bigger girls to stay
Bigger,
big.
stronger athletes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah, definitely something needs to change with weight cutting. And they could almost have like an open weight class or something, like above, 145 for women. And then that way you can just go in at your natural body weight, and then you can even bulk up if you wanted to.
Yeah.
But I don't know. That would probably get out of hand very quickly. And
It's just hard to regulate because
yeah,
then I don't know, maybe if they stayed within 15 pounds of a certain weight
yeah,
or 10, something like that.
yeah, yeah. I don't know. It's
Like, isn't wrestling like that? They have like bracket, like categories. It's like 134 to 144.
right, but people still can't wait for it. So it's really like everybody's just aiming for the highest number of the weight class. Like
Yeah.
nobody's
Yeah.
really, walking around at, whatever, like 154 or 153 or 150 if they're fighting 155. They're all
Right.
walking around 170, 175.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's gonna take people smarter than me to figure it out.
Maybe someday, maybe with enough women voicing this, then they'll change. Because there was a time where Dana White said women will never fight in the UFC.
That's true. That's true. And so do you think that the 145 weight class, right, is the one that they cut, you said?
Mm-hmm.
So do you think that could be because they didn't have enough big stars? Or
That's what they said. They said there were just not enough bigger girls. I'm like, there are hundreds and thousands in the US alone that size. But yeah, maybe there's just not enough on the level they want them at. I don't know.
because I think from my understanding they also cut the 125 weight class because there wasn't enough for men. They cut the
For
125
men.
weight class because they didn't have enough stars.
Yeah, that's not fair.
So and it is what it is. They're just going to do what they're going to do. It's their game at the end of the day, and
Yeah.
the sport wouldn't exist to the level that it is without them. So they can, in a sense, dictate how it works, and
Yeah.
not necessarily fair or ethical all the way, but it's just kind of what is. It's their sport essentially, you know.
Right. It's true. Good
And,
point.
you know, um, but I don't know. It's going to happen however it does, and it's not like another company's going to come along and create something new. I don't think.
Well, that's what they said about WWE, and I think that something like AEW has really stepped up. Lots of
Yeah.
fans love
Okay.
that. Yeah. Yeah.
AEW.
Never
All right.
know.
All right. It because TNA I know was one that was up and coming, but aren't they like partnered with WWE now?
Well, if from my understanding, they turned to Impact Wrestling and they just
Okay.
couldn't get off the ground. But I think since I've been out of the business, I think I heard something like that.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. It's definitely a giant company at this point
Yeah.
because WWE and UFC are all under the same umbrella, and
Yeah.
Powerslap. You know, so
Yeah.
something that I think would be good is if they were to do events where they would have fights and then grappling matches and then Powerslap fights and then go back to more MMA fights, and then you could even have boxing in there.
Oh, like a
Um,
variety
a
show.
variety type of event where with all the different promotions they have, and then if they wanted to, it doesn't necessarily fit, but they could even put like a pro wrestling match in there as well, just to like throw all of the different aspects of the sports entertainment that they have.
Yeah.
Um, but I'm
Huh.
not sure how that would work. It would probably take a lot of organization, and I don't
Well,
know.
like with the cage in the ring, you'd have to find someone who could invent a cage that converted to a ring pretty quickly, or like maybe the
Hmm.
cages came down and ropes slid up. I don't
Yeah,
know.
you just need your mission and people to work
Yeah.
quickly.
Oh, yeah, that takes so long.
Yeah.
The ring could probably be set up, but the cage to get broke down takes a bit longer. But the UFC did open up a branch of just jujitsu, and
Yeah,
they
I heard that.
created that like a bowl type of mat so they don't roll off, but there's no cage. It's slanted.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
it looks cool.
Kind of like Karate Combat League, right?
Yeah, yeah, kind of like that, but a little more
Okay.
smoother.
Okay.
Yeah,
I like that idea. That's cool.
I do too.
Um,
And I think I would have tried to go for karate combat. I would have like
yeah,
pushed my manager to do that. So maybe in the
that'll
future.
be the next move.
I think it looks fun.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. For sure. I think it would be a fun time. What about BKFC?
My best weapons are not my hands only. If I do any standing and striking, my legs really help me out a lot with the kicks. But I
Hmm,
really just want to punch to get in there, to clinch, to take down, and then grapple. So
got it. That makes
yeah,
sense.
it'd be taking away all my strongest weapons.
Yeah. Plus, you don't want to hurt that beautiful face. All the
Oh,
bruises. Um,
so much scar tissue already.
I know. No, 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 no. You don't. No. I'm saying that, after time it would probably happen though. So probably just getting slapped 3 times is enough.
Oh man, I've seen some people's faces just grow by the moment.
I don't know. I imagine that would hurt your brain.
Yeah.
But
Anything striking the head is going to hurt the brain. But you know what they did say? They made a good point. It was the actual owner himself, not Dana White.
mhm.
He said, "You're going to get hit more than 3 times in a fight, right?" I'm like,
Mm,
probably, and even more in the training camp leading up to it. So
yeah,
I'm like, even though you're not trying to, but man, I've been clocked lots of times in training before a
that's
fight.
true. And then
I was
it's
like,
probably also worse shots because you're on your side, on your back, or
yeah,
you're getting kneed in the face,
yeah,
or getting kicked in the head.
elbowed in
Yeah,
the temple.
elbowed. Yeah, yeah. So all of those are probably a little bit worse than a
I
slap.
know. So I was
A
like,
little bit.
okay, good point there.
That's true. That's true.
And then the back bumps that pro wrestling takes,
Yeah.
it's comparable to a mini fender bender whiplash.
Okay.
which creates a lot of like if
Right.
you doing that over and over, like having that happen to you over and over is shaking the brain constantly. And then I don't know. I mean, we don't know enough about concussions yet. That's the thing, but they really should take pro wrestlers and study their brains. Fighters too. They really should just monitor a
Like
handful,
all combat athletes.
a case study. Yeah.
Yeah.
For like the
And
next 20 years.
yeah, yeah. And then they'll have data from all these different, aspects of, they'll have like just jiu-jitsu athletes, just MMA fighters, just boxers, just power slap, a combination of the, whatever. Um,
Yeah.
I think that could definitely be done. I'm not the guy to do it, but people need,
Neither.
and I think it definitely needs to get studied. And I think that we need to protect the brain because
Yeah.
if we lose that, we're pretty fucked.
Totally. Yeah. And I don't want to be a party pooper and like I don't want it to stop. I don't want these sports to stop, but we
Right.
definitely find a way to do it. But I would imagine someone must be on it because every fighter gets an MRI and MRA before each fight. Or actually, no, they last for a year. They're good for a year. Then you have to get another one. So I wonder what the development or decline, if any, is in certain fighters' brains. That'd be fascinating to look at. I'm very fascinated by the brain, by the way.
Yeah. I had saw a video with Matt Hughes, obviously, right? Yeah. So he's like pretty brain dead, for lack of a better way of saying it, right now. And I thought that it was because of his fight career for the longest time, but then I found out recently it was because he was actually hit by a train.
What? He
Apparently,
was?
Matt Hughes was hit by a train, and
When?
I don't know. I saw a video where he was telling the story about how he looked one way, he didn't see it. He was talking on the phone, but he didn't look the other way. And then as he was walking, it hit him, and it didn't have its horn going, and it didn't have so he didn't hear it, and it just I don't know. Um, but
Wow. Like, was his earbuds in? Is why you didn't hear it? Because even then,
I
that's
don't know. I don't know. He was talking on his phone, was what he said, but he also didn't even sound like him, and it was kind of tough to understand the story. But it basically sounded like a train hit him, and then the person he apparently was talking to on the phone had said that they didn't hear the train, they didn't hear the horn of it, and yeah, so I don't know. I need to look more into the story, truthfully. But I thought for the longest time that it was from his fight career where he had all
oh
the
my
brain
gosh.
damage. But it
Yeah,
was
I'm
'cause
reading it.
yeah.
I just pulled it up right now, and that's it in 2017. That's what happened. There was no broken bones or internal injuries, but he was unconscious and unresponsive, and he didn't fight since then. But 2 years after that accident, his wife filed a restraining order for domestic violence. This is
Oh
like a Chris Benoit type story.
yeah, yeah,
That's what happened to his brain, and he got violent and strange, really violent. So that yeah, just that alone, that keeping our brain safe is keeping other people safe.
right. Of course. That's too bad that I'm hearing that because I was thinking because from when I had first heard about it, it was because I had heard he was in a coma. And so part of when I decided I wanted to start a podcast was I want to also do episodes where I'm interviewing people that have had near death experiences and have been
Yeah.
in comas because it'll relate to my story, and then that way it's just like allowing me to help others share their story as well as giving me more of an audience to share mine too. Um,
Yeah.
and but anyways, so I don't know if I want to interview him or not. If that's kind of where he's at, where his mind's, But I
Well,
don't know. Who knows?
I would say go for it. I mean,
Yeah,
because relationships are a lot different than
yeah,
other relationships.
of
So,
course.
and
And
it's been a
yeah,
while. It's been a long time, and it might have gotten worse. But then with therapies, and he probably has the right people to help. Maybe it's gotten better because
and
the
and
brain
maybe
damage.
he'll be open to sharing about the experience and what the
Yeah.
brain damage did to him. And
Yeah.
yeah, Yeah, I would honestly love to interview him and get him on the podcast, but it's all about getting him to know who I am first, and
Yeah.
or at least hearing of the podcast, because
Yeah.
he can't go on it if he's never heard of it. Um,
Well, you'll get there. You'll get there soon.
of course, of course. I remember hearing. Well, I mean, obviously, like you can see too that Joe Rogan has done like 2,600 episodes, so of his podcast, and so that's like over 2,000 guests that he's had, basically.
Wow. Yeah.
Um, like it, assuming that 600 were repeats, you know. Um,
Yeah.
so the way I'm thinking of it, if I do at least 1,000 episodes, I'm gonna be, at least a tenth of the way there. Um,
Yeah.
you know, so that's my goal, is to keep doing more podcasts with different people that are doing things in their lives. Like you're an actress, you're a singer, you're a pro wrestler, you're a pro fighter, and then the voice of QueenJesi, of course.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I love it.
Of
She's
course,
so
I love it
nice.
too.
She's the
Uh,
nice character.
yes, and we gotta definitely get you in an episode as a cameo for the next one, because
Yeah.
I just did one. I've figured out how to start making them easier now. Now that I've like gotten past, I guess, the learning curve of it. So I'm
Okay.
doing episodes kind of like MMA on Point, except I'm making it where it's like the characters are talking about it and kind of just like
Okay.
sharing with the audience. And so yeah, so I just finished the second one today, and then I'm about
Yay.
to do the first episode for pro wrestling. And
What?
um, so my plan is I have a list of 100 ideas for MMA, and then a list of 100 ideas for pro wrestling. So I'm gonna knock out all an episode for every single one of those, and then I now have 200 episodes. And with the wrestling one, I think it's gonna catch a lot quicker because I'm gonna have a cameo for each episode. Um,
Cameo of
like I'm
wrestlers?
gonna have a different pro wrestler in every
Oh,
single episode.
yeah.
So the one that I'm creating first, someone that was on the podcast a few weeks back, Brother Bedlam, he's gonna be on it. I don't know if you've heard of him. He's a smaller name, but he was a really cool guy, and he had posted a cartoon image of himself on his story, and so I was like, "Yo, I want to use this and have you do a cameo," and he was excited to do it. So I just sent him the lines today, and
Nice.
start creating the images. So
Yay.
I'm almost there.
Yay. Yeah, it's getting there. It's looking
Yeah.
really good. Your jingles are awesome.
Thank you. Thank you. One step at a time. And so definitely more walkout songs I want to be doing as
Yeah.
well. So
It seems like a lot of people that have walkout songs don't need more angry. Yours is so positive and uplifting.
well,
Not too angry,
yeah, yeah,
angry environment.
yeah, that's true too. Maybe I'm better just focusing on donut shops. I have this one.
No.
Well, I'm gonna do both,
Well,
but
the
like
pro wrestling walkout songs actually that'd be great because there's a lots of like happy poppy baby faces.
there are, yeah.
Yeah.
I just gotta find them. But
Yeah.
I have this place that I'm working with called Desert Donuts, and I made them a video and a song with the video for a donut, and so they're making the donut based off of my character Jujitsu Monkey.
Oh,
And
what?
so yeah,
I'm
so I'm
I'm so
excited
glad
about that.
I am so glad they recognize how like that they have a really great product through
Yeah,
you.
yeah, yeah. They see the potential. Um, so it's just a matter of doing more of that and then getting it into more places. And then I want to eventually work on helping them get more locations too, because right now they have three, but they make everything like right when you order it. So you go in
Oh,
there and you tell
whoa.
them what you want, and then they start making it right there in front of you. And so
Yeah,
it's like it takes like 5 minutes for the donuts, but it's
it's
but
worth
it's
it.
yeah, it's made fresh.
And so I'm excited to try it, but like, it's on the other side of the country for me.
Yeah. In Arizona?
Arizona, yeah, Phoenix, Arizona. And then they have
Okay.
2 in Colorado, but I'm not sure where, and I'm not sure if they're offering this donut or not. So I just know the Phoenix location is going to, and we're
Yeah.
testing it out small and seeing how it goes, and
Yeah.
then we'll be able to create some more from there. But
That'd be awesome.
yeah, so I'm glad we were able to do this today, and I will let you know when this podcast gets uploaded. And
Yay.
good luck at your power slap fight coming up.
Thank you.
Um,
Thank you.
where do you want people to find you? On Instagram, on Facebook?
I love people to follow me on the Instagram if they're like fans of what I do, because I do have it private usually, just
Oh, right.
to avoid, I don't know.
Yeah.
There's a lot of weirdos out there, let's say. But I like Facebook a lot, but I preserve that for people I've met personally.
Got it. Okay.
If I get to meet someone personally, then I
Do you
will
have a fan
have to come up
page?
with them.
Do you have a fan page that you want me to link?
Nah, I won't use it.
All right. No worries then. So
Instagram, Body Slamming Queen 333.
awesome. All right. So I'll link that then. Cool.
Yay.
All right. Well, thank
Hey.
you for taking the time today, and we'll talk again soon.
Thank you, and I'm glad we made it work. And
Yes, me too.
thanks for making it work.
Episode 12.5.
Yeah. Yay, special episode.
Yes. All right. Thank you.
Okay. Have a great night.
You too. Thank you.
Damn, she had
Thank
that
you.
spark, but I'm
Bye-bye.
Truman in this movie, sailing past the dark. Heartbreaks, just a plot twist. I'm learning the game. Old loves in the rear view, no need for their names. This ain't a rom-com, it's the Coach Bergen flick. Every scene's mine, yo, the director don't quit. It's the Coach Bergen show, I'm the star. Let's ride past love's old crushes, yo, I'm waving goodbye. Life's a movie, I'm Truman breaking out the frame. Write my own script, ain't no one to blame. Coach Bergen show, yeah, the credits gon' roll. Let go of the past, now I'm free in my soul. Told myself I'd see Simone, time clocks the spot, and there she was like fate, yo, connecting the dots. But to have her in my life, she wasn't down for the role. Like Truman's girl for Fiji, it's out of my control. Of course, it's a TV show, plot's wild, no doubt. Born on Valentine's Day, heart's been tossed about. All these women in my script tearing me apart, but I'm flipping the page, new chapter, fresh start. It's the Coach Bergen show, I'm the star. Let's ride past love's old crushes, yo, I'm waving goodbye. Life's a movie, I'm Truman breaking out the frame. Write my own script, ain't no one to blame. Coach Bergen show, yeah, the credits gon' roll. Let go of the past, now I'm free in my soul. See the crowd in my life, they all clap for the kid. Done chasing shadows for the love that I did. This my Truman moment, sailing out to the edge. World's fake walls can't hold me, I'm jumping the ledge. Every crush was a lesson, every tear was a take. Every late night text was a choice I'd remake. Now I'm editing the cut, snipping out the pain. New scenes dropping daily, sunshine after rain. So here's to the Coach Bergen show, curtains up, let's go. Old flames in the credits, I don't need them no more. Simone, like that girl who was moving to Fiji. Truman vibes, I'm free, world's mine, you don't see me, yeah. It's the Coach Bergen show, fade to black, I'm whole. Next act's all me with a brand new soul.